But there's no doubt that revenge and deterrence are taking over from self-defense. And it's not isolated and spontaneous. It's highly organized. Last month, the village of Kifl Hadith near Nablus was visited by a gang of young Jews. They say they were attacked and defended themselves. The villagers and the aftermath suggest different.
They came about 30 or 40 young men, and they began to shoot. Every one of them has Uzi or M16.
Houses were wrecked, animals killed. The Quran, the Islamic holy book, was desecrated. An Arab girl was killed, shot through the shutters of her home. One Jewish youth has been charged in connection with that. The youths came from a yeshiva, a religious study center in the Arab town of Nablus, pinpointed by Arabs and Jews alike as yet another center of Jewish extremism, an extremism fueled by the yeshiva rabbi Yitzhak Ginsburg. Far from condemning the activities of his students, the camera-shy rabbi justifies them by suggesting there's a difference between the shedding of Arab and Jewish blood.
According to Jewish law, there's definitely a difference, especially in a state of war, in a state of conflict over who the land belongs to.
That statement and the activities of the yeshiva students has caused outrage within Israel.
Look here, I'm very angry about with Rabbi Ginsburg. I think what he announced is horrible. If to think about the criminal aspects of the behavior of some of the pupils, that's not my business. That's the business of the army, of the police and the army there, yes? But I have got the clear impression that the educational atmosphere in this yeshiva is horrible.
Dismissed as cranks they may be, but the extremists can't be ignored. Rabbi Foreman's condemnation has earned him anonymous death threats. Arab victims include some totally unconnected with the uprising or the occupied territories. One Palestinian was shot dead in front of tourists by Jerusalem's city walls. And Jews who have angered the extremists have been threatened or had their homes attacked in the name of a so-called Jewish terrorist group calling itself Zikarikim, associated with the yeshiva students. Dede Zucker believes the time has come for the Israeli government to act.
This group is important mostly because it's a good indicator to what is going to happen if the government would not take actions. Because there are two steps ahead. There are two steps ahead, first of all, because of the nature of this group, which is kind of weird, strange group, but it's also two steps ahead because the government and then the army let them work and made it possible for them to act in a vigilante, dangerous way, and they are involved in at least 2 cases of death. So it should be taken as a warning that once the government would not take actions, many settlers in the West Bank, Israelis, would act just like the people in this seminary.
Are you saying that the government should take action now?
The government should have taken steps weeks ago.
Prime Minister Yitzhak Shamir saw for himself the anger of the settlers when he attended the funeral of one killed by Arabs. His funeral oration was drowned out by the jeering and catcalls of the settlers. And he's regarded as a right-winger, a friend of the settlers and an advocate of a greater Israel. But he has been talking peace. Not land for peace at this stage, but still the settlers see that as a threat. Prime Minister Shamir's experience left him visibly shaken and appealing for Jew not to turn against Jew.
If the government of Israel wants this country to go to civil war, let them simply continue doing what they are doing. No one wants a civil war, God forbid, but that's where this country's headed.
Today's demonstration could hardly be equated with civil war. Rabbi Kahana is renowned for his less than temperate remarks. They resulted in him being banned from standing at last year's parliamentary elections. But he does command support, and he and those like him are finding an increasingly fertile ground for their message.